protocol observed. Once again, I'm Alex Saliho, and I'm happy that UCA entrusted us to carry out this study, specifically targeting to map out the gaps, the impact, but also come out with recommendations. And this report is your report, it's not my report. You gave us the results, and I'm going to summarize for you and share what exactly came out of the study. But this is a study that we can use, or the report that we can use to make decisions today and tomorrow. As Robert said, the number of factors that informed the study, I'll talk about that. We use different methodologies or methods to be able to do this work for purposes of making sure that we meet the expectations of cooperators. By definition, I'm not going to go back and talk about the principles. I want to save a lot of your time because you are the cooperators. You already know the principles. You know why cooperative unions are formed and their importance. But what is very key is also to note that globally, about 10% of the employment opportunities globally are created by cooperators. Cooperative unions contribute a lot in terms of employment opportunities across the world. And it is critical for us to know why are we talking about cooperatives, unions, and circles as means of economic transformation or drivers of change in society. So it was important that the government, the cooperators, get to understand the status. They're able to look at the internal capacities, look at the delivery gaps, but also profile the barriers. What is it that is limiting the cooperators to succeed? Look at the legal framework and policy as well. Now, having said that, it is critical to understand that when you talk about employment opportunities, when you talk about economic transformation, we cannot do that without cooperatives. So that importance is critical. And again, we realize that cooperatives play a role towards the realization of sustainable development goals. So it is important for the country to invest in cooperatives, and not only the sustainable development goals, but also when you look at the African Union agenda, the Vision 2040, again you realize that all these instruments recognize the importance of cooperatives. So investing in this study was very, very critical for the country to understand the policy and institutional analysis, look at the economic contribution, look at the capacity gaps, look at the barriers and facilitating environment that will allow the growth and the development of cooperators or cooperative unions to support the growth of our country and the development. So we had to design different methods to help us to be able to understand and meet the objectives of this study. Now, it was not easy, but we used this approach, which we call PPF. We looked at the past, we looked at the present, and also projected, we looked at the future. So this is the summary of the methodology. We looked at the history of cooperatives, and we looked at what we are doing today, and also we had to engage you to understand what do you see in terms of the future in order to be able to come up with the map and understand that this is where we are going. So I don't want to take a lot of time in terms of the tools that we use to collect the data, but I want to appreciate that we moved across the country. We had a lot of consultative meetings, and you did a great job in terms of sharing with us what you are doing, where are the gaps. All regions of Uganda, you can, some of you are already here. If you check this, it gives you north, west, central, all of you I can see the majority of you that we're able to meet and discuss about these gaps. Now, for us to be able to get deeper, we reached about 3,710 respondents across the country. Now, we said, look, in terms of cooperatives, where are they? We looked at the registration status in the country. For information, there's some big gap. You realize that 57, if you see this side, 57 are still on probation. It's only 43 that are registered legally and recognized. Probation, 57. So there's something to do. Now, in terms of reach, across, I would like to state that the majority of cooperators or cooperative unions, they all agree that they were able to form or come together because of mobilizing resources among themselves as a key driver. Very, very, very important. But also a Emyooga program led to the creation of a number of cooperative unions, circles in the country. Now, what did we establish in terms of impact? A lot was shared, but in terms of livelihood and socio-economic transformation, access to finance, food, supplies, business development, engagement of youth and women, very, very, very important. The circles we established, they have played a fundamental role, and you are going to get this report and you are able to look at different contributions. But I'd like to go to the specific gaps. Allow me to recognize the presence of Senior Professor Ezra Sroma. You're welcome. Now, I'm using 3 colors: yellow, red, and green somewhere as we move. But I would like you to look at red, where you see red. Where you see red, we are very, very, very weak. These are the areas where we need to address. In terms of governance, moderate. Somewhere, you see yellow a bit moderate. But red, we're doing very, very, very badly in terms of skills among the staff, in terms of brand visibility, infrastructure. Most of the available resources are not properly put into use. Now, input supply. Most of the cooperators are complaining and say, look, cooperative unions, they used to support access to seed, access to fertilizer, and the rest. But now, there is a big challenge. Financial management, check. So cooperators, where you see red, that's where we need now to focus in terms of addressing the gaps. Membership recruitment. How do we monitor our transactions, progress, the monitoring systems? You get to the circle and they say now the chairman is not around and therefore the records are not available until the chairman is back. The chairman is in town, that means the stamp is also in town. It is important to know the areas where we need to improve. Check. Business development. How many income streams that the cooperators are managing? Market access, the component of cooperative union, and how the cooperators use it to do what we call collective marketing. Very weak now. Members feel that they are not getting the benefits in terms of the entitlement of the members. Can we improve on that? Now, we did some ranking to make it easy for you. You'll get this report and then you see the ranking. So you realize that green I mean, there are just few areas, but you can see in terms of ranking, governance is a big challenge. The leadership, sustainability. Most of the leaders in the circles of cooperative unions, 60 years and above. The future is not certain. The young people are not deliberately recruited and engaged and trained to be part of the ecosystem of management. But again, the leaders were saying, look, these young people are likely to take our assets. We are not trusting them. We got that feedback. So, a very big challenge in terms of sustainability. Financial management. I'm happy the General Secretary talked about digital solutions. How do we take advantage of ICT to address this challenge? Now, we're able to profile the specific barriers, what is limiting the growth and bring these challenges. Of course, the majority said limited financial resources, constraints, stop their growth, and therefore they are not able to address some of the issues, including digitalizing the services. The majority don't have specific business models, and therefore there are no incentives in terms of running business. They don't have a defined approach of doing things, and that's a challenge. Short-term gains, inadequate competencies and skills among the staff to be able to support the growth and the development of circles, unions, and cooperatives. Now, we went ahead and said, okay, who is who in that sector? We profiled different actors, their needs, and when we came up with the needs map, and this basically talks about different specific needs in terms of infrastructure, in terms of market, finance, technology, and exposure. At the same time, making sure that we have got policies that support the growth and the development of cooperative unions and circles. Where are the opportunities? Let's not talk about only the problems. We need to talk about the opportunities. One, we are talking about the East African community. Where are we? What's the role of the cooperators? The country is part of the ecosystem that is talking about the growth and the development of Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I was talking to my brother here, Yarugaba Josephat, and I say, look, how do we support the SMEs, the cooperators, to be part of the actors, the drivers, and trade between Uganda, Congo, and go to Nigeria? You can export. Where are we? Do we have the capacity to meet the standards to be part of the regional trade? Or we are going to be trading among ourselves when Father Safari mobilizes members in Chisoro, then they trade potatoes around Chisoro and it stops there. Can we take advantage of rural-urban migration and look at cooperators as drivers of change by supplying products and services in these towns, the merging of cities? Go to Lulira, look at Mbarara, Fort Portal. Where are these circles? What is our role? Everybody is celebrating now. There is a city, a new city in Iguru. Kawali is now a city. But are you going to eat the word city? There are two things. You must have a product or a service. Two things. Even when you talk about free movement, and they say now Ugandans, you can go to Ghana, you can go to Nigeria, you don't need a visa. But what are you going to do there? Nothing. You'll keep home because you have no product, no service. We need to make sure that we empower the cooperators to take that advantage. Who is there in the ecosystem that you need to work with? We need to take advantage of engaging the government, especially the district local government, the central government in terms of line ministries, financial institutions, research organizations to be able to inform the investments that SACCOs and cooperative unions are making. I found a number of challenges around investment in seed. Some cooperators are investing in wrong seed. They procure in bulk that they want to save. Subsequently, they are buying wrong seed because it's not informed by research. The cooperators are not working with research institutions. We are passing each other. We only meet for 1 or 2 reasons, and the rest. Universities are far away. You mean ivory towers of knowledge? The cooperators the other side, the government the other side. We need to work together to create that change that we need to see and turn the cooperators. Ideal situation. What is ideal in terms of moving forward? We need to look at the roles and responsibilities of the governance. They need to be very clear. Composition of the board need to be mixed in terms of young and old for purposes of sustainability. Father Safari, you allow me to say this, that the majority of you and us, you are leaving your young children, boys and girls at home watching Manchester and Arsenal, and you go for cooperators meeting. You come back and say the meeting went very well, but I want to assure you they are going to sell the property that you have. That's the plain truth. They don't have an idea about the investments you're talking about. A deliberate effort, a direction of policy must be put in place in order to engage at leadership level. We need to take advantage of the digital economy. We need to focus on technology and information sharing across different actors. The bigger picture must be shared across. The dream, the direction. Most of the unions, cooperators, they're operating on annual basis, annual general assembly, but they don't have a 10-year strategic plan, 5 years, such that the members know that each year there is a progress towards achieving a certain goal. And that is supposed to motivate even the members, both at leadership and also the new ones that are joining, because they know which bus that they are boarding. So it is important to put also a mechanism of managing conflicts. There is a lot happening down there. And that is very, very critical for us in terms of moving forward. How do we engage? Ideally, we need the unions to start moving in the direction of co-creation. They plan alone in isolation. So we need to do co-creation. We need to look at co-implementation with different actors. The days of unions working in isolation only with members are over. We need to take advantage of the parish development model. You need to do co-financing. Use what you have, but you need to mobilize resources both internally and also outside. Learning is a continuous process. We need to do the co-learning. So the 4 C's are critical for us if we are to change the way we are doing things. Maybe my senior prof will advise, but what I know, the moment you plant cassava, you expect to harvest cassava, not yam. So the moment you continue to do same things, then you expect different results. I'm not sure that we are going to achieve that. Governance is very important. We need to restructure that, especially 3 lines: reporting, delegation, and supervision. Delegation, just something simple. You cannot get, if the chairperson is not around, everybody says next week until the chairman is back, until the secretary is back. No. We need to delegate and get leadership that will allow us to be able to work together. Now, moving forward, there are specific recommendations that we're able to profile through the engagement processes that we had. And I'm going to just summarize some of the recommendations. And some of them I've already talked about them. especially the idea of the reward and recognition. We need to come up with future plans that are very strategic, that engage members. We need, again, to look at building the capacity of the staff, the leadership, and the members. And I'm happy that the government is already playing a role by facilitating UCA to be able to deliver on that. May I request that we give the government of Uganda a clap for that. However, the resources are still very limited. There is a lot to be done. So UCA requires a lot of support to deliver its mandate, and the government definitely plays a fundamental role, especially also reviewing the policies and making sure that the policies are aligned. And one other important aspect I would like to emphasize is the issue of access to finance, and if we can think about bringing back the cooperative bank to be able to facilitate the process. Now, what about the private sector? The recommendations are structured. Government, the private sector. There's a lot that the private sector can do. But I want to pick two things: markets and finance. Very, very important. But I think, Robert, we also need to incubate these businesses. The emerging startups and SMEs need to be incubated to run successful businesses. There's a lot in terms of infrastructure, but that is not properly being utilized. And therefore, we need to restructure and engage the private sector to be able to support in that direction. Now, we need to develop a model that can define the way we do things together as cooperators. And I'm happy we are coming together to think, discuss, understand the gaps, and we can use this report, among other studies and the reports and the work we are doing, to define a new model or a new way of doing things based on the study. So once again, I would like to say that the government will continue to play a fundamental role, but all of you have done a great job. I would like to acknowledge the contribution of different players. This report is going to be available, given to you right away. You see a promise that each of you will get a copy. We're going to give a soft copy and also hard copies. It's about 60 pages, but my role was just summarize and give you the highlights of the study. Thank you once again, and I look forward to continue engaging and working with you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give Professor Alex another round of applause. And so he says co-learning, co-implementation, co-financing. There are so many things he has looked at when they are doing their research, but also the recommendations they have made. I think they are very good if we take some interest in them and maybe implement after trying to learn them thoroughly. So we want to continue with our program. The board chairman is not yet here, but probably he will join us later. May I suggest, with your permission, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the next issue, and that is creating business and investment opportunities for women and youth. No, I'm sorry. Positioning cooperatives into Uganda's development strategies with focus on NDP IV. That is from the National Planning Authority. Do we have NPA here? Okay, please, let's welcome him with a round of applause. And remember, at the end of this discussion, we shall also have a plenary, so you'll be able to engage our presenters. Probably you agree with them somewhere, or maybe you disagree, or enrich their submissions. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to you all. My name is Arnold Bogonga. I'm a trade planner, and I'm here to present a paper titled Positioning Cooperatives in Uganda's development strategies with a focus on NDP IV. We shall go through a brief introduction. Then I'll take you through the NDP IV strategic framework. Then how to position cooperatives in NDP IV. What are the challenges you have looked that are facing cooperatives? And what strategic interventions can strengthen cooperatives? And we shall conclude. It's okay. You can check from there. The goal of the forthcoming National Development Plan, NDP IV. I didn't bring my laptop. You can change from there. Okay. 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 The goal of the forthcoming National Development Plan is to achieve higher household incomes and employment for sustainable socio-economic transformation. And NDP IV will be premised on a theme of sustainable industrialization for inclusive growth, employment, and wealth creation. The NDP IV is in line with the 10 growth fold strategy for leveraging industrial and inclusive development strategies. And this 10 growth strategy looks at doubling the size of the economy every 5 years of the remaining NDPs. And it entails growing our GDP from USD 50 billion for financial year 2022-23 to about 500 billion before 2040. So the anchors of this growth strategy are industry as a cornerstone for qualitative growth and economic leap. There is also agro-industrialization as a livelihood source propelling Ugandans towards prosperity. There is also mineral development and petrochemicals as a catalyst for resource-based growth, industrial growth. Then there is also digitalization and ICT as an enabler for the knowledge economy. Then we also look at tourism as a vehicle to generate revenue and employment with high return on investment. So during this NDP IV, it is planned that the economy will grow double digit to about USD 158 billion by the end of the plan in 2030. What are the NDP IV objectives? We have 5 objectives, with the first being sustainably increasing production, productivity, and value addition in agriculture, industry, minerals, oil and gas, ICT, and financial services. We also have enhancing human capital development along the entire life cycle. We also look at supporting the private sector to drive growth and create jobs. We also look at building and maintaining strategic and sustainable infrastructure in transport, housing, energy, water, industry, and ICT. Then we shall also have the 5th objective as strengthening good governance, security, and the role of the state in development. And what is the role of the cooperatives for this? Cooperatives can help us to mobilize the private sector players to contribute to all these 5 objectives of the 4th National Development Plan. In terms of positioning cooperatives in NDP IV, historically, we look at roles of cooperatives as being collective action centers for shared resources and mutual support. However, cooperatives are very critical in the area of value addition and also supporting one of the key anchor programs of the fourth National Development Plan, which is agro-industrialization, through the following key areas. We look at cooperatives as being vehicles of enhancing agricultural productivity through provision of quality inputs to their members and also promoting mechanization. In that way, we believe cooperatives will be strongly contributing to the agro-industrialization agenda of the fourth National Development Plan. We look at cooperatives as key in facilitating agricultural marketing and extension services. With this, cooperatives should help us eliminate middlemen, and the farmers can gain access to market and have higher value for their outputs. We also look at cooperatives as being very key in establishing storage facilities and also improving post-harvest handling, which will also help us reduce on the post-harvest losses. We also look at cooperatives as being very key in eliminating the intermediaries or the middlemen for farmers to have direct access to markets. And also, we look at cooperatives as being very key in promoting commercialized agriculture. Through those key roles, cooperatives will help us boost value addition of our agriculture and promote the agro-industrialization agenda of NDP IV. What are the key challenges? The previous speaker clearly hinted on them. We see cooperatives are facing. Where we see complex regulations as frequent changes which create a kind of uncertainty. Then we see another challenge as being inadequate capitalization. We also see another challenge as being limited financial resources for investment. Since these cooperatives, they face a challenge that the saving culture in Uganda is still low, and people mainly take out the money. However, we need to promote the saving culture and also encourage these cooperatives to invest, say, in government securities, treasury bills and bonds, all also in unit trusts for them to grow their capital. Then we have limited member engagement in terms of poor member participation, which reduces impact. Then they are also limited by poor infrastructure in terms of road connectivity, especially to the farms, and then the storage facilities and processing facilities that can add value on the farmers' produce. Then issue of fragmentations. There are numerous small-scale and independent cooperatives. Then the issue of weak governance, which leads to ineffective structures and also reduces competitiveness of cooperatives. What are some of the key strategic interventions that we are proposing that can enable cooperatives maximize their impact under NDP IV and strengthen their roles? One is tax incentives, that is waivers on agricultural inputs to reduce costs. Capacity building, that is we need to improve the ability of cooperatives to gain access to domestic, regional, and global markets in a competitive way, and also capacity building in good governance practices. To maximize their impact, cooperatives should be supported to access affordable finance in UDB, UDC, and the Agricultural Credit Facility of Bank of Uganda. We also need to help cooperatives tap into green investments in order to build climate resilient strategies for cooperatives. We need also to interest cooperatives to focus on high value crops like coffee, cotton, cashew nuts. We also need to diversify cooperatives. Let us not only focus on agricultural cooperatives, but look into areas such as housing, transport, and also broadening circles at workplaces. Then, with that, we shall diversify and also minimize the impact of risks cooperatives go through. Then, we need to learn from successful models, notably in Kenya, where cooperatives are strong and successful, and also German. In conclusion, cooperatives are key to Uganda's socio-economic transformation. However, addressing some challenges like inadequate capitalization, poor governance, and infrastructure limitations is very crucial. Therefore, strategic focus needs to be put on, with strategic focus by implementing the previous strategies highlighted, cooperatives can boost production, improve value addition, and enhance Uganda's competitiveness in regional and global markets. Thank you.
Give him another round of applause. Thank you very much, sir. Some of our colleagues we expected to join us to make the presentations are not here, but I'm going to make another call just in case they have arrived. We can have them take us through their submission. And if that's not the case, we have decided that since we've had two major submissions, we can have a plenary. You add it to what they have said, agree or disagree with them, so that we don't even forget some of the key issues they presented to us. And if you allow, we can have that amendment done. It will help us in keeping time, using time very well, as we also wait for the other members who are supposed to give their submission. But before I even make that proposition of amending our program, let me make another boarding call. We are supposed to have a presentation on creating business and investment opportunities for women and youth in cooperatives with focus on GROW project. And that will be coming from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. The last time I tried to ask the person to make that submission is not yet here. And so, Robert, is it a good idea, with your permission, ladies and gentlemen, that we have a Q&A looking into what Professor Alex presented to us and what we have heard now from NPA, so that the ideas perhaps you have formed, we don't forget them, we add it into their discussion. And so for that matter, Robert is going to be here. I'll move the microphone. He will identify you by your name if he knows you. If he doesn't, he'll identify you where you are seated or the color of your garment. And he's going to give you an opportunity to speak one at a time. You just put up your hand, you tell us where you're from, and please keep it very short so that we can have many views today. The idea is from you, we can be able to influence government policy on how we can move cooperative forward in Uganda, brick by brick, to build a future that is better for us all. So I hand you to Robert.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Patrick Kamara. I was almost adding there NTV. Yes, I like the way you always end up your presentation when you're on screen. And most of you could have always been enjoying the voice, but this is the very person. Now, without wasting a single minute, I'm going to invite the two presenters, previous presenters, such that I personally, with a colleague, we shall move the microphones to wherever you are, in case you have a compliment or any concern from their presentations, please, this is the right time. When we say national consultative meeting, it's the purpose why you are here. For them, they carried out their job well and efficiently articulated. Now we need to see your opinion towards what they have presented or what you feel was left out. In whatever format and form, we are able to welcome any idea. Constructive, but not destructive. Thank you very much. At this moment, I invite Professor Alex and our brother from, please come forward. The microphones are here waiting for you. We shall go by the second principle of democratic member control. You put up your hand, we give you the microphone. At least, even if the rest could not work out properly, but at least you appreciate. Thank you very much. I'm waiting for the, yes. You tell us your names and then you go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm Aol Betty Uchan, a member of Parliament, Gulu City. I'm a member of Agricultural Committee. A member of Agricultural Committee in Parliament. I know cooperative falls squarely under trade, but it is also part of agriculture. I am sorry I came a bit late, but I have a lot of interest in this. And thank you, the two presenters, at least the second one, I followed up to the end. But I was very, very interesting to hear about success stories in Uganda. Not going to learn from Kenya and probably Germany. Is there no success story in Uganda? Because for us in Gulu district, probably Acholi sub-region, and Gulu city, we are trying, but we are not yet even a quarter way there. So it would be easier for us to learn from within the country. Is there nothing at all? Because what I heard was Kenya and Germany. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm Vyakatonda Abdu. I represent workers in Uganda. And I'm a member of the Trade Committee and Parker Local Government. I think let's put our hands together to thank Uganda Cooperative Alliance. The challenge has been coming together. And I want to thank Professor for the report. You know, cooperatives, I think by 2002, were recognized by the UN and its agency ILO as a vehicle to bring investment, create jobs, and even contribute to the economy. So I think in this report, which is tight, watertight, mine is just a call to action. While others are working, we should be running. And we need really, it's like my face is Islam. I think you should have a second face as being a cooperative member, ladies and gentlemen. No Ugandan should be without a cooperative. If you don't have a cooperative, you don't have a religion. So let's actually, when we do that, we shall be able to move. The presenter from National Planning Authority made it clear. Our current GDP, in terms of United States dollars, 50 billion. But they are saying in NDP IV, you want us to go to 500 billion. What's that we can do to move? I would think that National Planning Authority should actually come and list such a fora so that they are enlisted as key stakeholders. We bog down on implementation as a country. That's why we are never focused on actually moving ahead. You find that, for example, on 6th September this month, I was privy to the information about some of the just companies like Amazon. The declaration was Amazon is now United States dollars 2 trillion. Now you can imagine Uganda is just $50 billion. A company which started in garages in the United States is $2 trillion. Then another company which was declared was Walmart, which is now United States dollars 618 billion.2. But when you add up Uganda, the East African region and all the countries, we only $168 necessary, which means we are not even 0.5% of Amazon and the other companies. So what went wrong? I think as a parliament, we are with you and willing to work with you. Let's identify where the gaps are, and we can ensure that we leverage on this and ensure that we cooperate and move. Kenya has been mentioned, but you find that even when you look at the tax industry, all the commuter taxes are for cooperatives. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? What's the problem with us? I think we need to move forward. While others are walking, we should be running. I thank you very much.
Whereas I'm holding the microphone, look at him because he has the powers to decide who is going to speak next.
Thank you so much. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called Azima Vincent, all the way from Nakaseke. It's Chimika Chikwata Farmers Cooperative Society. For 11 years when I'm the General Secretary of that cooperative. I'm glad to be here with you all. My point is very clear, was from Professor Alex, what he presented. The problem we're having here and on the ground, we, the cooperators, is the deal of the biggest gap between the government and we, the cooperators. There is a very, very big gap. This came as a result that the Ministry of Local Government, together with the Islamic Development Bank, through the LEGS program, has set a coffee plant for us in Nakaseke as we Chimika. But it's now a year plus when the factory is not yet accomplished. The contractor whom was given that job to set the factory would have finished his work a time back. But even now, the power is not there. We are trying to research why, where, and what to do so that they extend the power to the factory. Whenever we ask someone responsible for that, and say, the person who was given that contract of extending power to this station is having a lot to do. Now we're asking, who is that person? No any answer given. So that has been a very big problem due to the gap between the cooperators and we and the government. So we need to extend each other, to be nearer to each other so that we promote cooperation in Uganda to reach the other point of socio-economic transformation as per the President's manifesto is concerned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Azima Vincent.
Thank you so much, moderator. By submission, my name is Stephen Tumwine and I work for Minister of Local Government in the Department of Local Economic Development. My submission goes to Prof. Arho. I want to appreciate your report. But at the same time, you have given key strategic recommendations. But we'd like to remind ourselves that these cooperators come from local areas. And as such, how I wish some of your key recommendations align to the local economic development policy of 2014, which identifies local problems, at the same time identifies local solutions. Going forward, why should a cooperative A in the same district, when you look at it, it's successful? And why is the other one not successful? The issue is, you have mentioned some of them, but we need to bring out clearly what exactly can we bring forward to build their capacity locally. I didn't hear mention of issues of peer-to-peer learning, where members of Cooperative A can move to and do peer learning from Cooperative B. In that way, we should be identifying key issues that affect us locally, but also identify solutions that can help us build our capacity going forward. But also at the same time, allow me try to answer my colleague from Nakaseke. Minister of Local Government has built a number of value addition facilities in different local governments. And the issue is now we are engaging Minister of Energy to ensure that wherever there is a value addition facility, power is connected. It is a matter of time. Be patient. We are pushing as a ministry. The facility will be connected with power. I want to thank you, and thank you so much.
My name is Natamba Julius from Uganda Mbende Cooperative. So, what I want to talk is to revise on the government policy. What do I mean? UCA plays a big role, but UCA role sometimes is found in town. So we should look about how to merge the powers with UCA and political wing. So, the thing which must be revised, what I was suggesting, is about political wing to merge powers with UCA. So, whereby you find that the recruitment of staff under UCA in the villages, it is a town service. So, for example, in districts, it's not around even in the village. So, where you find that at least when we are formulating these laws, some laws are being formulated in 1960s. There are laws which must be revised. For example, at least we make UCA to be authorized over sales. At least let a UCA, there be a UCA officer at every sub-county working with a redress committee. At least those political way of authorizing sales be brought be brought in the hands of UCA, whereby you find a UCA officers authorized with the stamp. I'm not talking bad about those chairmen in the village that are authorizing stamps, but chairmen have made a lot of illegal sales over lands. So let the power of the stamp be given be left in the powers of UCA, technocrats. Land be sold technically, even properties be sold technically, using UCA technical staffs. Then where we have to merge those political wing, like chairmen, they have to merge to do things technically, not doing things politically. If not, I will ask the government to allow me time make a consultation. You will find that no single chairman will remain in the village over fraudulent sale. For example, most of politicians don't differentiate between power and authority, whereby, for example, those members of parliament who fought in parliament, they had power to fight, but they did not have authority to fight, due to the fact that Kare Kairo as an inspector general police by then had authority to arrest them. So, where I mean that the land, the sale of the property, be in hands of UCA in every sub-county and district. So I will ask to formulate on that law that UCA officers be given power to authorize the sale and be left in the power to be with the stamp. Yeah, that's what I was suggesting, and meditate on that. If not, the government around me, yeah.
Thank you very much for that concern. However, I'm going to respond just briefly UCA is not centered in towns. The headquarter is at Nkrumah, plot 47/49. But maybe to give you a brief response, UCA was established in 1961 and it was given the role to play for mandate, to be the advocacy of the cooperators, lobby and advocacy, to engage the government, especially on the issues of policies, such that the cooperators' voice is heard by the government. 2, the resource mobilization, internally and externally. 3, the capacity building of all cooperators, the management, general membership, and also the leadership, like we always do. Then, in case of any dispute, UCA was given mandate by the Act of Parliament to carry out the arbitration. We have the mandate where we operate as UCA, and when they talk of UCA, most people tend to confuse UCA with the Secretariat. Secretariat handles the technical issues, but UCA is you and me who are the cooperators. There are some roles that can be played by other key players like the local government, the police, and other players. So, in one way or another, we need to understand UCA properly before we make recommendations. And maybe some other people who are coming with the comments, recommendations, and others, let's try to be as short as a miniskirt, but long enough to cover the subject matter. Is it okay? So we are going to get the responses from this side, then next we shall come to this side. Thank you very much for your concerns and the recommendations. Let's hear from our presenters. I think each of you captured what was going to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is once again Arnold Bugonga, Trade Plan and National Planning Authority. My first response is on Honorable Betty Awolo Chan on success stories. Do we have any success stories in Uganda? Probably yes or no, but we shall get more clarification from the Secretary General Uganda Cooperative Alliance. But one success story I see that has withstood the test of time can be Bugisu Cooperatives Union, which has been there for some time. But Uganda Cooperative Alliance can give us more clarifications on which key cooperatives we can use for benchmarking in Uganda. The honorable member representing workers gave us a compliment that we need to work together to achieve this 10 growth strategy. Yes, and I will also repeat one of the key anchors for this growth strategy is industry as a cornerstone for qualitative and economic leap. Agro-industrialization, that is adding value to our production to propel Ugandans towards prosperity. Then we also look at mineral development, where petrochemicals will be a catalyst for resource-based industrial growth, as for knowledge economy and growth. Then also tourism. So with all this harnessed, we can reach there, and if we all work together. Thank you. I also pass on to Prof.
Yeah, thanks so much, my colleague. I think I respond to, all the 4 areas, 5. One, the issue of the success stories, very, very critical. I think it is important as a country to document the best practices, lessons, but also focus them. When you talk about a success story, we also need to look at a success story in what? So, we can deliberately, for example, look at the very good cooperative unions and circles that have done well, for example, in finance management. And you can talk about the story about that. You can document and say, look, in terms of market access, who has been there and who has done something good that we can pick. There are some unions that have done well in terms of working with government, what we call taking advantage of the public-private sector partnership model. So I agree with you that we need to deliberately look at success stories based on the drivers of change and start sharing across internally, and also look at other success stories outside the country. Now, my brother also talked about the call for action. What do we need to do? I think I emphasized the issue of being real. I introduced you to one concept about R plus R is equal to R. What does it mean? The purpose of this report is to get the facts such that we are able to understand the realities, and based on the realities, we should be able to respond. And the moment you understand the reality and you are able to respond accordingly, then you get better results. So R plus R is equal to R. Now I go to Vincent. The issue of the gaps and how do we link the government with the cooperators. Very, very, very important. Emphasizing the concept of the co-creation. How do we make sure that the cooperators are working closely with the government? And I think in the recommendations we talked about, for example, taking advantage of the parish development model. We need to be part of the ecosystem. We need to engage the private sector drivers. We need to engage the development partners. And I'm happy people like Joseph Hart from the Netherlands Embassy and the rest are here. So we need to look at this report and look at the call for action that responds to this report, and look at the call for action that responds to the challenges, but also take advantage of the opportunities. So that is very, very critical, and I agree with you. We can also look at learning across internally, exchange learning. I agree with you. So this report, you realize that we mapped out what we call the strategic actions for UCA, for the government, for the private sector, and for the cooperators. So you can take advantage of this to come up with a strategic plan or an action plan annually that speaks the consequence, the opportunities, but at the same time, looking at what you can learn internally among yourselves and what requires you to go outside. Finally, I think Julius is talking about the outreach. He wants to see UCA across the country, and that is already happening, but I think he wants to see more, both at the rural area and also in urban areas, and I think that's a core in terms of awareness creation and also empowering the team on ground to be able to articulate and support the issues in terms of bridging the gap between the government and the cooperators. Thank you once again.
That was kind of rehearsing. I don't think the kind of clap I've just heard matches with his response. Yeah, at least that one. There was something concerning the success stories which was raised by one of our cooperators. And before we take on other hands, I feel we have the right person who can identify easily or who can articulate towards responding to that concern. Therefore, as a master of ceremony, I'm going to use my powers, invite General Secretary to respond and at least create awareness to the cooperators that cooperative movement is not seated, cooperators are there, and there are so many success stories backed by case studies of which among our participants today can testify on that. Therefore, Mr. General Secretary, sir, allow me to hand over this microphone to you such that you can give us that kind of light. So far, so good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MC. Thank you so much, presenters from National Planning Authority and Professor Alex, our consultant. It's a fact that he conducted a capacity needs assessment and they came up with the findings And they have also given us recommendations, very wonderful recommendations. In the interest of time, I want to thank the Honorable Member of Parliament who raised this issue. Do we have success stories? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Where is Chibinge? Chibinge Coffee Farmers Cooperative Society. Mr. Sowed, kindly be here. Where is Wazalendo? Wazalendo. Officer, sir. Where is Ankole Coffee? Kole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union, where our chairman comes from. They are also around. Mr. Stephen Bongonzia. Stephen, he's here. Do we have exodus? Parliamentary circle? Parliamentary circle. Honorable Bintu Jaria is here. Ukusku, they are here. Where is Walimu? So, members, there are so many. I'm just speaking a few. Officer, sir, with due respect, how much is your current net worth?
Thank you so much, General Secretary, and good morning, members. Wazalendo net worth is to the tune of about 1.1 trillion. Yes. As of last month. Membership, we are 112,746 members.
Are we bigger than a commercial bank?
Yeah, I think we beat most of them.
Speak loudly, because I want the cooperators.
Yes, I think we are close to some of them. I don't have the figures, but yes, we can combine some maybe and be at par.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kofi, we have 2,041 members, and you have 2 billion in our capital.
Where is your market?
Netherlands, Belgium, Japan, that is our market. We export coffee.
I chair a rural circle, Shuku Circle. We have 13,000 members. Net worth 21 billion as at the end of last month.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Just and we finish. Parliamentary.
We don't mention our
don't tell us the exact figure. The membership.
These are politicians. The membership were around 10,000 members, both sitting members of parliament and former members of parliament, sitting staff and the former staff of parliament. But for the net worth, these are members of parliament. You know, we don't mention it because we have to protect the members.
You know, I happened to attend their AGM last week. Members of parliament, we want to thank you for having a good circle. Let's clap for them. They are in billions and billions and billions. It's a very big circle. We have the Housing Cooperative Union. Mr. Nathan is here. Tell us about the housing.
Yes, good morning, everyone. But Ms. Ivan, I think you would be in the right position to say this. Because the housing union currently, we have 37 housing cooperative societies. And just this year, we have given out 120 land titles to our members. That was during the Cooperatives Day. This is an event we had at one of our housing cooperative societies. We also have housing estates. We have one in Wachiso, that is Kwefako Housing Cooperative Society. It is housing over 60 members. These are estates, well-planned houses. We have from 2-bedroom houses, 3, 4-bedroom houses. Yes, we are not there, but we are pushing on. We also have some members out there who are exhibiting what they do. So we are also on track, trying to promote the cooperative housing model. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's someone. Again, we have Moyosako as we finish. I've seen the even Yamujungu is there. Robert, give him a mic. Just have 2. I didn't want to speak. Honorable members of parliament, partners, Uganda in the next few years will be led by the cooperative movement. Because we are on the right track, and I want to tell you, there is no magic that we shall use as a country to socially and economically transform without empowering the local citizenry, and it has to be done through cooperatives. This is what the Americans and the Europeans have done. The Asians have used it. Why not Ugandans? Why not Africa? We need to wake up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our General Secretary. My name is Dick Beamkama. I'm the General Manager, Diamuzung Cooperative Financial Services in Kabare. Mine was to attest to the fact that peer-to-peer learning is always done. And in our circle, Diamuzung Circle, which has actually celebrated 40 years this year, I cannot count how many circles that have come to our circle for benchmarking. Circles from Kisoro, circles from Ankore, circles from Toro, from Kabare. So we have been entertaining them, sharing knowledge. Briefly about the total worth, net worth of our circle. We are over 25 billion Ugandan shillings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Because of time, we will not. There are so many with success stories. We shall have time and share all this together. Now, on the issue of our collaboration with the government, members, I want you to join me to appreciate the government of the Republic of Uganda. Can we clap for the government? For us cooperators, we don't engage in politics. Don't tell us about politics. Where you belong is your business. For us, we are looking at socio-economic transformation of the country using the cooperative model. Now, given that, number one, the government adopted the cooperative model. That's why you see the PDM, Emyooga, and other programs. And we thank the government. Number two, government supported the farmers with agro-processing facilities. I have had an issue there. Much as the challenges are there, but we have the facilities. And I want to thank the Parliament of Uganda. We had a meeting towards the end of last financial year, and Parliament is very positive that cooperatives should fully own these facilities and utilize them. Don't we clap for them? Today we are going to listen to the GROW project, Ministry of Gender. They are looking at how do they work with the cooperatives to empower women and youth. That is another opportunity. So there are so many opportunities. As we speak, from 1961 up to 2023 July, UCA had never got any budgetary support from government. But it is through this government that we are able to get a subvention of 3 billion, and that is why we are here. Members of Parliament, kindly stand up for recognition and appreciation in this context. Thank you so much. On behalf of cooperators, we really want to thank you, convey our regards to the Speaker of Parliament and to the President, because we are here, we are able to have such meetings because we have been having that collaboration. Parliament has really been there for us. So that is the collaboration. And why are we having the PDM and Emyooga here? These are newly formed cooperatives, and which we feel that once they have been nurtured, because they are still babies, if we nurture them, we support them, we grow them, for us as a movement, we shall be moving forward. We want to thank Operation Wealth Creation. I have seen Honorable Proskovia here. Kindly stand up for recognition. So members, the clear evidence that UCA collaborates with the government, you have seen it by yourselves. Having members of parliament here participate in this consultative meeting, having the ministers, having the partners, it's a clear indication that the collaboration is there and is very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the General Secretary. And I think when I was telling you that the ingredients which is made of portray the real cooperation. Any concern, any question about cooperatives, you can stop from there. We are going to pick one person from here, one person from here, and one person from that side. In case of any other issue, please put it on a piece of paper and then... are we together? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm called Olar Bernard, Chairman, Board of Directors of Kopi Global Cooperative Union and a board member, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. My major concern goes direct to the first presenter, Professor Alex. Professor Alex, my comment is not a discouragement, but it is intended to enable us think deeper and further. In most cases, your reasoning and wherever we have been has always been intertwined with mine. But this one, I'm sorry. My concern is especially about the youth inclusiveness. I'm reminding ourselves that the environment at which we grew, the period at which we grew, the time at which we grew differs with what is happening today. None of this youth has been objected or denied any chance, except their own mindset is the problem. Youth are engaged in activities that give dividends now, that give results now, that give profit now. That's why all their aspirations is now on nothing but the borders, wherever they are. Most of them, they want to do something now and the result even now. This has cost me a lot of sleepless nights, especially for us who are engaged in agricultural cooperatives like coffee, which you must wait for it after planting for 3 years. Then it yields annually. And these youth are very impatient. They cannot wait. If they cannot wait for 1 day, how would you expect them to wait for 6 months in order to begin harvesting? We must think seriously and deeper than what we are thinking now. Because when our group come to extinction, definitely these traditional cooperative unions will also die. Because there is no sustainability, there is no continuity. Now, what do we have to do? Immediately in 2021, when we came up as Okoro Coffee Growers Cooperative Union, I designed a strategy thinking that it was a very good strategy at that time. Never did I realize that I was misfiring the targets. We went for benchmarking, started with Kibinge, that's Okoro Coffee Growers Cooperative Union. We went to Ankole Coffee Producers. We went to Mount Rwenzori. We went to Fort Portal, Hoima, and back to Zombo District. Very happy that we have succeeded. And yet, surprisingly, I came to realize that the people we were meeting are the people of our age group. The board and the management. Those are just birds of same feathers coming for a meeting and rejoicing that they have succeeded. When we went back, we started implementation. I want to tell you the truth. And after serious consideration, we discovered we misfired. I've gone back to the drawing board. I'm not yet tired because we think a solution must be got. If we want to be realistic, let us target the youth. We know their aspirations. What strategy do we design for them in order to continue with the sustainability we are yearning for? Otherwise, all what we are doing is nothing but speculation, assumption, and an illusion.
Thank you very much, Bernard. I entirely agree with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we amended our program to invite questions and comments, and we are moving on well. However, we still had 3 presenters such that we handle the plenary at once. We are going to press a pause button. We are going to press a pause button after getting a comment from our board member, at the same time the chairperson of Lango Cooperative Union. Thereafter, Michael MC will announce the next point to it. Thank you very much. Keep your question and concern on a paper. There is enough time during plenary. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. I want to thank Professor Rio and the gentleman from NPA for their presentation. And my question or comment is actually on both. But I want to start from the presentation by Professor Rio. You identified the capacity gaps in the cooperatives movement in Uganda, ranging from governance, financial management, access to finance, conflict management, and all sorts of problems that we face. And the gentleman from NPA highlighted how cooperatives could help in achieving NDP IV in terms of the different pillars of government. Agro-industrialization, value addition, tourism, minerals, and all those other sectors. But I think both presentations are actually in isolation of each other, because NPA has not addressed any of those capacity needs that we need to address before we can actually pitch in
in terms of achieving the objectives of NDP IV. For example, if you look at the capacity, the governance problem in Uganda amongst cooperatives, if you look at the social malaise in Uganda in terms of corruption, inefficiency, and all sorts of problems, there is no particular strategy that NP is articulating that government should do or should undertake to actually address that very important component that cooperatives should be a way of life in Uganda. Whether we are talking about agriculture, whether we're talking about savings and credit, whether we're talking about transport, like we have highlighted the case in Kenya, similarly with Tanzania, even in Germany, which is a capitalist country. It's a way of life that you come together and build your energy together so that you can achieve your targets, your objectives collectively. So I would want to see that NPA should really argue for government to promote cooperatives as the voice of the planning department, the planning unit in government. If you look at the resources that have been allocated to cooperative development by government this year, in Parliament, the Committee of Trade and Tourism are here. There was no resource at all given to cooperatives. We say so much, we pay so much lip service to cooperative development, but we do not actually resource it. So I think that we should be able to link those needs to the planning goals or development goals of Uganda and resource it, give it adequate money. Both the ministry, UCA, and the rank and file of cooperatives in terms of their own resourcing, whether for capital development, whether for manpower, whether for governance. There is no support, adequate support by government. So I think there's a big gap there. Thank you.
Give him another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I can see and feel the passion in this auditorium about what is going on. In fact, this is a true national consultative meeting. Because when they say, put up your hands, I'm sure here the person who was managing was having problems. Whom do I pick and whom do I leave? If he hasn't picked you, it's not that he doesn't want you to speak. It's a question of time. And if you may allow, please, if they give you a microphone, use your time sparingly so that other people can also have an opportunity to speak. But we created that as an interjection so that we buy time, because the person to present next was not here. At the end of this meeting, we're going to have, before the end, we're going to have another plenary. So please, have your questions ready and add value to this consultative meeting, because this is why we are here, to influence policy of government so that brick by brick we can build a better future for us all. Now, one of the biggest programs of government today is the parish development model. I'm told about 1 trillion shillings put in parish development model. That's colossal sums of money. I'm told about 100 million at every parish. Cooperators, do you understand it? Do you know it? How is it working? How would you want it to be presented? What success stories so far do you know? So for all those questions you may be having and more, we now have somebody from the PDM Secretariat at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to take us through the role of the parish development model and Emyooga in wealth creation for socio-economic transformation. Please come and talk to us. PDM Secretariat representative. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, MC. Good afternoon, cooperators. Is it afternoon? Oh, it's still morning. Good morning, cooperators. Yes, thank you very much for having me. My name is Golo Walwanga. Okay. Just. Okay. I've got it. Okay. So I was saying my name is Golova Lwanga, and I work with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development as a manager for financial inclusion under the parish development model. I bring greetings from my PS and the department where I reside. I do my work. I have been asked to make a presentation to you all on two programs, two wealth creation programs of government, the Emyooga and the PDM, and also to share with you how they are impacting on our growth and development as a country. So this is the presentation, and this is the outline of our presentation. We'll have a brief introduction to what this whole context is about, and then the parish development model, the design, or at least the important parts of its design, and how far it has gone, and also the impact that we're seeing already, and then Emyooga, and then we will touch on the what I've called here the sustainability plan, because I also noted in the report, the capacity needs assessment, there was an issue, a huge issue raised around the sustainability of government programs, particularly that have supported SACCOs in the past. And my honorable minister, doctor, is here. A lot of what we're doing in the PDM is actually work that was started by him when he was Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Yes. Okay, so I think in the last session we have talked about the National Development Plan, so I will not labor. That is the strategic direction that is guiding the actions of government. The National Development Plan 3, which is coming to an end, and now we are moving into the National Development Plan 4. As we're developing that work, there is also a new thinking, if you like, the tenfold growth that government has committed to grow this economy tenfold by 2040. So that is also now part of our strategic direction going forward. If you look at the NDP 3, its ultimate goal is around increasing household incomes and improving the quality of life of Ugandans. But what is the reality is that in our rural areas, even in urban areas, you will find there are many households or Ugandans that are not yet there. And this is despite all of the interventions that government is doing at the moment, and the private sector and the civil society. So at least 3.5 million of those Ugandans are still in a category which is less than desirable. The one that His Excellency the President usually likes to refer to as Chida Chonka, the 3.5 million households, those particular members of the population don't have access to many of the services that the rest of the population have access to. And two important services that they have challenges accessing is education and then the finance. Those two are very important opportunity equalizers when we talk about growth. Now, this particular population is in a state that is not desirable because they're not accessing those services to equalize the opportunities. They're excluded, but they're also largely the ones without assets, and because of that, they are running around in a vicious cycle. Low incomes, low savings, and then low investment, and then we go back. So those are the type of people that we're thinking about when these programs were designed, the Emyooga program and the PDM program. The Emyooga program, and these two programs are anchored on the NDP, as I've mentioned, and as you will see in their strategic statements. PDM is the NIM government's medium to long-term strategy to accelerate wealth creation and improve the quality of life for all Ugandans. And its focus is on these subsistence households that I've talked about. And the mission is to move them into the money economy. And then when you look at Emyooga, it's about promoting wealth and job creation, ultimately filtering into the better incomes. And its focus is on low-income households that are engaged in micro and small enterprises, largely in the services sector. So this is why we're doing these programs. When we go to the PDM, I think this slide is the best I could do to summarize what the PDM is. The PDM is 7 pillars or intervention of government in these 7 areas. So the first one, which I think is extremely important, is what we call Pillar 1, and I think many of you have heard of this now: production, storage, processing, marketing. When you look at Emyooga, we are promoting improvements in the services sector, but when you look at PDM, then we look at the agricultural value chain, and all of the support that is going through PDM is aimed at ensuring that we have productivity, better productivity, higher production, and that filters through into better incomes for households through the agricultural value chain. So all of the that government is providing is aimed at this. We're not funding consumption. We're funding the activities in Pillar 1. We have Pillar 2, which is to deal with the roads, the infrastructure around the roads, the electricity, and the networks. If you look at digital transformation, that is where those issues are addressed. And then we have Pillar 3, the pillar on the money. And this is where government, I think I need to say, and General Secretary has said, government adopted the cooperative model. And in these 2 programs, the cooperative, and in the case of PDM, a multi-purpose cooperative, is what was adopted as the vehicle to use at the parish to transform the societies. So that PDM Circle is a multi-purpose cooperative registered as such by the Register of Cooperatives, and it has the mandate to promote better production, better extension at that parish, the financial services bit, and also training for our members. So that is what that PDM Circle is designed as. So that Pillar 3, where the money is provided by government, is providing seed capital to the parishes to do those functions and exclusive of the agricultural development value chain. But also in Pillar 3, there is more than just the money. There is issues to do with improving the business skills at the household level, business skills at the circle level, and business skills at the enterprise group level. Basically, what we are trying to achieve is a business mindset in all of these parishes where the money has been sent, so that we see sustainability going forward. There's also issues to do with insurance, which is something that is in the offing. It's not yet completely flagged off, but also savings, and then digital payment platforms, as we will see going forward. There is also a pillar on social services, which is the health, education, and all these others. How do we make them better at our respective parishes, and that they work for us to have a productive population to reinforce the money that has been provided. Pillar 5, community mobilization and mindset change. And maybe here I'll just emphasize that from the perspective of where I come from, our interest is a business mindset. How do we inculcate a business mindset in the beneficiaries that are getting this money? There's Pillar 6, which is the one on the system, the Parish Development Management Information System. I saw in the report, the Capacity Needs Assessment report, that at least we have around 50% of the circles that were cooperatives that were sampled have a management information system, but the majority of them, I think more than 60 actually, have a management information system, but at least 50 had it manual. Now with this particular intervention under the PDM, the efforts are to make it digital. All the transactions that are happening at this parish, at this circle, are digitized, not manual. And with that, the expectation is that these participants, the subsistence households who were before then invisible to the formal economy and to the rest of us, will now become visible. We can look at their repayment behavior, we can look at their characteristics, and then design better products to serve them going forward. So that is what that pillar is about, and we have a system in place as we speak, that is doing exactly that, that has collected information on our households, that has collected information on the circles and the transactions that they are conducting, even as we speak right now. The last one is governance and administration, which is a pillar to do with the institutional arrangements that are supporting the implementation of this program, the parish chiefs, the local government infrastructure, and I think I need to mention the local government infrastructure is our community level implementation force, if you like. The ministries set standards and issue them to local governments, and the local governments implement this program on ground. So this is what the PDM is about. For those who did not know. So this is a brief summary of what, when we talk about the cooperative that I mentioned earlier, and how it has been chosen as the vehicle for us to develop the parishes. These are the terms around the seed capital that government has provided, those parishes. And mentioned, I'm using the word seed capital deliberately. And I'll explain when we get to the slides about the phasing, the way we have phased the PDM. So these are the terms around the funds that government is currently providing to the parishes. There is an interest rate on those funds. It is not free money. It is a grant from government to the parish through their PDM circle, but when it gets to the parish, it has to revolve at an interest rate of 6% per annum. The loan period repayment is within 36 months, and 24 of those are a grace period, but after the 24, then we start seeing repayments. And also, the loan has been set at 1 million shillings for each of our borrowers within the PDM. This slide is an explanation of how we are implementing this PDM. We are implementing the PDM in 3 phases. One is called the establishment phase, which ended, and in that phase, basically what we did was to establish the ecosystem that was not there before. The circle. This circle has enterprise groups underneath it, which have the households as the members of the enterprise groups, and then the enterprise group is the member of the circle. That circle is now, for all where we have these circles in the country, the PDM circles, they are registered under the Cooperative Societies Act, and I've mentioned as multi-purpose cooperatives. And we also have structures that were put in place to support this, such as the system that I've talked about, and also the staffing, the extension officers, like the parish chiefs, and other production officers. So that is what happened in the establishment phase, which ended, and that is where the focus of government was in that period. So the period where we are now is what we call the stabilization phase, which is ending with the end of this financial year, which has just started. So when we say stabilization phase, this is what we mean. In this phase, government is focusing on continuing the capitalization of the circles, and I will mention how far the capitalization has gone to date. It is focusing on deepening the business development services and other extension services to the households that are benefiting from these funds, the enterprise groups, and the circles. And this is where I think we will have a lot of linkage with the existing cooperatives going forward. For example, with the peer learning that has been talked about here today. Strengthening the governance of PDM circles. This is also something that we are taking very seriously. And I know in the report this is a big issue that came up, the leadership and governance. My colleague, I have colleagues that we work with, Ambrose, Mr. Lutaro, from the Ministry of Trade, because the way we implement this is in a working group mode. We have a team that is implementing these activities, and they will speak to the audit and the annual general meetings that we have been having with these PDM circles since inception. And those are being done deliberately to strengthen the governance. Updating the data, I mentioned that we already have a system in place, actually systems in place. There is more than one system. But updating and continuously improving the data in those systems for us to be able to make better business decisions and also policy decisions going forward. Enhancing and integrating digital systems and support beneficiary identification. So as we speak, we have very good information on the beneficiaries that have received PDM money across this country. funds management at the circles, and then tracking the performance of the beneficiaries that have received the money. Promoting savings, community savings. If you notice in the establishment, this was not there, but in the current stage, this is something that is going to be activated a bit better than in the establishment phase. And then strengthening monitoring and evaluation of the PDM results, where the money has gone and what it is doing. I will share some success stories at the end of my presentation. Then finally, after this phase is closed, then we will transit into a phase we call the acceleration phase, and in which phase the dream, and I would like to say that, is that all of these PDM circles that we have established at our different parishes that have received support and that will have received capacity, better capacity, growth, strengthened, with all of us supporting them, will come together and form a bank. And what we are envisaging at this stage is a parish development bank that will continue to support the development aspiration of Ugandans at their respective parishes, owned by Ugandans. I want to repeat that, owned by the Ugandans. So this is the, if you like, the roadmap that we have under the PDM. Oh, sorry. So when we talk about impact, what are we seeing so far? Or what is the progress so far? We have enterprise groups and circles formed at 10,589 parishes across this country. The enterprise groups are formed, even new as we speak, new enterprise groups are formed as and when. We have new members coming on board because entry is not closed. But the circles, they are restricted to the number of parishes we have in the country. But at the moment, we have 10,589 parishes for which the communities have been mobilized and they have formed these enterprise groups and then eventually formed these circles. We have business development services, content and training modules that were developed with the Enterprise Uganda, with the Ministry of Gender, with the Ministry of Trade, with ourselves at Ministry of Finance, with other stakeholders that have been participating in this type of work before. So we have what you call the message already defined, and that is the message that the local governments are using to train or to support these PDM circles at the grassroots. Those 10,589 circles, as we speak, have been capitalized by government to the tune of 2.189 trillion. So the MC mentioned 1 trillion, but at end of last financial year, which closed in June, government has transferred to these respective the accounts of these PDM circles 2.18 trillion shillings. And each of those circles that we're talking about has received at least 200 million shillings, each of them. This financial year that has just started, they will also receive another 100 million shillings by the end of the year, but they will receive it in 2 tranches that have been designed to follow the planting season. So one will be in January of 2025, and then the last 50 million will be in June. My apologies. So by the time we end this financial year, at the very least, each PDM circle will have received at least 300 million shillings. And the 300 million shillings, or the 2 trillion we're talking about, is for what? It is for the agricultural value chain development activities that I mentioned earlier. And many of the beneficiaries that we have now have invested this money in enterprises such as piggery, poultry, dairy, coffee, fruits, fish and food crops. And food crops, we're talking about things like bananas, maize, cassava, and we'll share some examples at the end of this presentation. We have at least 1.7 million households that have accessed the funds so far, and they have accessed around 1.7 trillion shillings. I think you will notice, I know I said 1 million per beneficiary, but the money is less if you do the math. But that is because in the very first years, the very first cycle, we had some access less than 1 million shillings. So that is the current status. Now, when we look at our beneficiaries still, the ones that have accessed the PDM loan so far, at least 53.57% of them are female. And by the way, interestingly, we are seeing that the women-led enterprises are performing much better, at least in terms of things like where we have seen diversion. That has happened in some areas. But the women are actually doing much better in terms of sticking to the plan and doing things to the book. That national average actually changes as you go to the regions. If you now zoom into the regions, in the north it is at 56%, in the west it is at 55%. So that changes as you go across the different regions, but also the youth that the cooperator from Langwa is talking about, at least 35% of our beneficiaries, 35.8% of our beneficiaries are youth, the ones that we need to target and to ensure that they can carry this cooperative dream going forward. I talked about audits that we have been having, AGMs, and also audits that we had at least in the last financial year that my colleague will talk about from Ministry of Trade. And this is aimed at promoting good governance, participation, transparency, accountability, and strategic planning. We also have training on the systems that I talked about. That system, across this country, that system has been rolled out. So all the local governments are using it to support the SACCOs to transact digitally. We have continuous data collection. And then last year, in 2023, the Minister of Agriculture has since guided that we start narrowing down to fewer enterprises across these different districts so that we get better economies of scale. So this is something that is also happening across the country, because initially we were targeting more enterprises than these three. But in 2023, November, Minister of Agriculture has guided that we start focusing a bit better going forward, depending on, of course, the local context in those areas. We also have extension workers that are supporting these PDM circles and enterprise groups on the good agricultural practices for the enterprises that they've selected. Now, moving on to the PDM, the Emyooga, apologies. The Emyooga, I mentioned, is focused on the services. And it was designed to have the communities mobilized into associations, and then later on they federate at an apex circle, which is also a cooperative registered by the Register of Cooperatives under the Cooperative Societies Act, called an Emyooga circle. So those different Emyooga circles were formed along these lines, along the lines of these 18 Emyooga, or skills, if you like to call it that. Border borders, women entrepreneurs, carpenters, saloon operators, taxi operators, restaurant owners, welders, market vendors, youth leaders, persons with disabilities, produce dealers, mechanics, tailors, journalists, performing artists, veterans, fishermen, and elected leaders. So this is how we organize the communities when it came to the Emyooga program. And after the organization was done, then government capitalized them as well. And this is how it was done. So this Apex Emyooga, for the ones that were outside the category called the local leaders, each of them received 30 million shillings as seed capital to kickstart the learning activities at those different Emyooga. And then the elected leaders received 50 million shillings each. The best performing Emyooga circles and our fund manager, MSC, scores those. The ones that are best performing receive an additional 20 million. So for these circles to qualify for these funds, they are registered and they are fully constituted with leadership and governance structures, and they elect their own leadership. They also have annual general meetings, and they are also recommended by the district, specifically the resident district commissioners or the resident city commissioners. When we talk about the terms of the Emyooga loan, that the seed capital that government has provided to these SACCOs. These are the terms: 8% interest rate per annum, 24-month loan period. If you notice, it's different from the one of the PDM by 1 year, and a 12-month grace period. Then the beneficiaries can pay a single installment monthly or quarterly over the 12 months. So this is the structuring or the design of the Emyooga loans at the moment. When we talk about the impact, what we are seeing so far, and the performance, if you like to call it that, we have 6,810 Emyooga SACCOs that have been put in place, communities mobilized, and these SACCOs registered. And the government has so far capitalized those Emyooga SACCOs with seed capital worth 281 billion shillings. So remember I said the PDM SACCOs have so far received 2.1 trillion. The Emyooga SACCOs have received 281 billion. And for what? To invest in the services sector activities that they chose. Welders, the ones that are doing border, and the like, fishermen. That's where they're investing the money. Under these SACCOs, we also have the groups that have been constituted with membership. The membership under Emyooga is around 4 million, and the membership under the PDM SACCOs is at least 3.4 million members. We have around 378,000 jobs created, and 46,944 SACCO leaders leading these SACCOs, and 1.8 million leaders of the group, the associations under the Emyooga SACCO. We also have Emyooga enterprises that are engaged in value addition, and we'll share an example at the end of this presentation. There is 469,000 SACCO members that have been trained in this Emyooga program, and they're trained on what? Resource mobilization, governance, financial management, mindset, and enterprise management. So these are things that have happened so far in the Emyooga program, which is still continuing. Now moving on to the sustainability bit. So yes, these Emyooga and PDM SACCOs are new cooperatives that need a lot of support. If you look at the capacity needs assessment report, it talked about the existing SACCOs that were sampled that still need support. Some of them were, in fact, I saw the majority were established between 2011, then beyond 2010, 2020, but still they need support. Now these ones are fairly younger than even the other ones. So they also need support. And this is where we want to invite you, the cooperators, to partner with government to grow these new infant cooperatives so that we can achieve the dream that we said we want to achieve in the last phase of a parish development bank. So all the efforts we're doing, and if you notice when I shared on the stabilization phase, are around strengthening the capacities of these new cooperatives. And we have frameworks that we are developing at the moment as we speak to promote linkages, market linkages, formalization, particularly of the groups, the enterprise groups, the associations, networking, and I think hopefully in this new phase we'll see some of these SACCOs become members of our networks, Ukusku, UCA, and all these other networks. Certification of the products that they're producing, particularly for the PDM SACCOs and the Emyooga SACCOs that are dealing in producing goods that already have standards set. And some of the planned interventions are continuous sensitization of this PDM and Emyooga on financial education, business management skills, training on the good agricultural practices. As I mentioned, the focus there is on the enterprises. And our aim is to empower those members to move on even beyond the seed capital they're receiving from government, and to mitigate the risk of low repayments. So things such as the investing, and then you eventually don't make the money and you can't pay back. That is why we're doing this. Promotion of good governance, and this is through the annual audits and general meetings, and strengthening monitoring of the funds provided. So this is also being stepped up, particularly in this phase that we are going through. And this is being led by the Operation Wealth Creation and the different districts, the resident district commissioners or resident city commissioners, and then the technical leaders like the district commercial officers and the like that are supporting these programs on ground at our grassroots. So this is the summary of the sustainability plan that is in place to support both the Emyooga and the PDM going forward. Fellow cooperators, I want to invite you. I think I've mentioned that government is inviting you to partner to grow these cooperatives, because we must ensure that PDM and Emyooga succeed, and these two will give us, we are very confident, will make a significant contribution to the socio-economic transformation of Uganda. These are some, I had more, but I decided to put these two, but I can provide more case studies or more examples of where we're seeing success stories already. So this one is an Emyooga, these are Emyooga beneficiaries during Labor Day in Namutumba, and they were showcasing some of the products that they've been able to do with the money that they received, and that they've added value to, which is very important, value addition. And then this is a gentleman from Kisoro. He's called Nsekanabo Amos. He's from a parish called Gitenderi in Kisoro. He borrowed 1 million shillings in the first cycle, and he invested in onions. And he was able to harvest 20 million shillings out of that investment. If you want the math and the details, actually I have a detailed profile of this gentleman. You come to me, I will share it with you. And out of that money, he has been able to put up this house and pay school fees, which is very inspiring. And I have many other examples like this, but this is one that I thought I would share. So thank you very much for listening. But if you agree, I wanted to invite my colleague to speak to say something about the audit and annual general meetings, if you agree. MC, am I allowed? Or okay, it's part of the sustainability. So thank you very much. I will stop there.
I did not say no to your proposition, but I only want to tell you I'm implementing a program that has been given. Thank you, sir. Please, a round of applause to him. And I'm excited about the last success story you've given us. A gentleman in Kisoro who put in 1 million and got 20 million. I need the number of that man, because when you put in 1 and you get 20, what a good return on investment that was in Kisoro. I think it's very beautiful to hear that kind of story. And we will, before we go to our next issue, I want to let you know that we have a skills specialist in the house from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. And he will be taking us through creating business and investment opportunities for women and youth in cooperatives with focus on Grow Project. But that will come a bit later. Allow me right now to invite the General Secretary to come and recognize some of the dignitaries here, because they've been joining us, and he knows them, some of them by their names, so that it will take us to the next issue of the Grow Project. Some of these names that let me ask, sometimes government programs have names that are very difficult to pronounce. When you give a project name, a government program, Emyooga, I'm coming from Vura or Kabong, can I even pronounce that word? Can't we always look for something that I was thinking aloud? Mr. General Secretary, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. MC. Cooperators, join me to appreciate the the representative of the Ministry of Finance, who has just completed the presentation on the role of PDM and Emyooga. Thank you so much. Because of time, will allow me to rush a bit. Members, I want you to join me in recognizing the following. One, we have Honorable Modimi, who is here with us. Thank you so much, Honorable. We have Honorable Maxwell Akora. We have Honorable Stella with us here. She has just moved out, but she has been with us. We have Honorable Jacinta with us here. We have Honorable Amero Susan with us. We have Honorable Margaret, who is with us also. She has just stepped out, but she's with us. We have Honorable Byakatonda with us here. And then we have Honorable Betty Achan, the former leader of opposition. We have her here, Mama Guru City, Ochan. Thank you so much. We have Honorable Bintu Jalia with us here. We have Honorable Anthony Butere. We have Honorable Wolimbwa Bernard. He's our elder. Thank you so much. We want to really appreciate the Parliament of Uganda for the invaluable support that you have rendered to cooperatives. And we thank the government in general for supporting cooperatives. Allow me to recognize Professor Ezra Suruma with us here. When Professor talks, everyone really wants to listen. And that's why cooperators always want to associate with you. We know you are very busy, but kindly always give us time. Cooperators love you, because they treasure the role you played in the establishment of village banks in the 1990s. Yourself, Professor Kagonyera, Professor Kamuntu, UCA, and government. We thank you. Allow me to recognize the Registrar of Cooperatives, who is here with us, and your team. Kindly stand up for recognition. We thank you so much. Allow me to recognize a representative of Makerere University Business School. He's here with us, Professor. He's my OB. We finished Senior 6 together. Now he's a big man. He's representing the Dean, Faculty of Commerce, Makerere University Business School. Also allow me to recognize the following, our partners. Koika is here with us. Koika. Thank you. We have Agritera, Kelaiton and your team. Thank you. We have Uganda Coffee Development Authority with us. UCDA. Thank you so much. We have Buganda Kingdom. Buganda Kingdom. Thank you. You people, you know the support that we have and the collaboration between UCA and the Kingdom. Kindly convey our regards to our Kabaka and the whole cabinet. Also allow me to recognize Diary Development Authority, DDA. They are here with us. Thank you so much. Allow me also to recognize Wazalendo Sacco, the largest Sacco in the whole country. Thank you. Allow me to recognize the Exodus Sacco, Police, Uganda Police. They are moved out. Uganda Prison Sacco. Ministry of Local Government. They are here with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Those who supported us with the agro-processing facilities, thank you so much. We have the National Planning Authority here with us, NPA, who has just finished presenting. We have the Embassy of Korea. They are here with us also, South Korea. They came with the Koika. Maybe has moved out, but they are here with us. We have the Embassy of Netherlands, Mr. Josephat and your team. And that one is a senior cooperator. He's more senior than us. He worked with us. So he's our ambassador there. Thank you so much, and kindly convey our regards to the ambassador and the entire Netherlands government. Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development is a very big team. Kindly stand up for recognition. Thank you. We have a team of Cooperative Insurance Company, CIC, led by Nicholas Rutakome. Where are we? That is our cooperative insurance company that is purely owned by cooperators. Also, allow me recognize Excel Hot Consult. He has just left, but he has been with us, Professor Alex and his team. Operation Wealth Creation, Honorable Proscovia is here with us. Kindly convey our regards to General Saleh, the CCD. Then We Effect. We have We Effect here. Oh, thank you so much. These are people who supported UCA and the cooperative movement and have been supporting us for the last 30 years. Thank you so much. Then we have the Interreligious Council of Uganda. They are there behind there. We work with them because in whatever we do, we put God first, or Allah. Then we have Kampala Associated Advocates, our lawyers. They are here with us. Thank you so much. Honorable Justin, where are you? I need to recognize you, and you come with the cooperative book. So we'll be recognizing one by one. Allow me to recognize the media. And I want to inform you that we are live on UBC. Thank you so much, UBC, for giving us the opportunity. Cooperators, let us join hands and thank UBC. They have really and really supported the cooperatives. Let us stand up very briefly and receive our Honorable Minister. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's okay. Our Honorable Minister, you are most welcome. Members, let's kindly sit down and continue. Thank you so much, Minister, for honoring our invitation and for being there for us always. Members, we have so many people to recognize, but in the interest of time, we shall be recognizing one by one. Allow me recognize, since the Minister has arrived, recognize the board of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Thank you. Also allow me to recognize the supervisory board of UCA. Thank you. Allow me to recognize the vetting committee of UCA. Thank you so much. Allow me to recognize our elders. Mr. Charles Kabuga, the senior. Have you seen him? Cooperators, let us appreciate Mr. Charles Kabuga. At his age, he has written a book. And the book is titled Making Cooperatives Work. The book is here. For you people who want to read, understand cooperatives, this is the book. Mr. Charles Kabuga, we thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for nurturing the young people. Allow me, in a very special way, recognize our most elder here, Mr. Damiano Musisi. He's here with us. Members, take time to see our elder here. This gentleman is the only surviving person that played a critical role in the starting of Uganda Cooperative Alliance in 1961. He is the treasurer of West Mengo Cooperative Union. He's still a treasurer at the age of 97 years. Muzei, kindly stand up again. People need to see you. This goes to the younger people. Let us always recognize the old people. They have contributed a lot. I am here today as a General Secretary because he played a critical role in the starting of UCA. He was telling me he's the only surviving person. When they were establishing it in 1961, the chairperson was Mr. Che Yune, and they sat in the conference center. So, he's there. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for the passion. At his age, he's still in charge of the money for the union. So as we continue, members, Honorable Justin, I didn't recognize you. Honorable Justin. Yeah, she's here. Join me to thank Honorable Justin. She is the former member of parliament representing Bududa district, and she's with us providing technical support at Uganda Cooperative Alliance. So members, in the interest of time, maybe with the permission of the minister, we shall okay. Thank you so much. So Honorable Minister has requested that in the interest of time, let's invite the members of parliament, shall give some few minutes to say hello to the cooperators and give them a word of wisdom as we proceed with this program. And on this issue, we shall request Honorable Justin, come and lead this session because these are your colleagues. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister, members present, General Secretary. The MPs say Honorable Beta Awol can speak on their behalf because of time, and then the minister comes in and we break off for lunch thereafter.
Well, thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Members of Parliament, all the dignitaries in your various capacity, the cooperators. I am still Aol Betty Ochan. Aol is the name, the maiden. Ochan is inherited after marriage. So, you know, actually names are A for women, O for men. Oh, yes, if you try to follow our names. I am a member of Agricultural Committee, so very much interested in cooperatives. We are here. We have received presentations. Honorable Minister, you have a lot of challenges to address. Because we keep flashing back. Now we have our Mzee here, Mr. Musisi, who has worked tirelessly, but some of their work were eroded. We had Cooperatives Bank. We are right now struggling to form banks, but we had Cooperative Bank, which was for the farmers. Where did it go? And why did it go? People are struggling. We are right now struggling to bring back cooperatives. It is those circles which are working. But those cooperatives which used to empower our people at the grassroots are not working. What should we do for them to work? The farmers' cooperatives. When it comes to also prices, some of us in the north, you know, we are there for annual crops. And maize disappointed people. First cotton disappointed people very much. Now maize, much as we can eat, but if you have very many tons, you cannot eat all the tons. And when the price dropped from maybe 1,000 to 400 shillings a kilo, it is very difficult. People cannot bring their crops or their produce to the stores. The stores, some of the stores are there. I know some of the stores which are redundant. So we need to put our heads together to see that we help our people better. For us as members of parliament, we don't talk for ourselves, we talk for the people. We want to see our people empowered. We want to see them with money. Emyooga was presented here. But that is, I don't know, in some regions, in my region, it's a disaster. It's a big disaster. It came politicized. Why don't we let system work and we put it to the technical people instead of putting things to us, the politicians who can politicize and close some other people out of something which is brought for all Ugandans, to benefit all Ugandans. All of us know when Emyooga was brought up. It was brought up at a very wrong time. And so, very many people were closed out. Let us check on how we use public resources, because public resources should not be meant for just a section of people. And those people, other people, you close them out. We must love all Ugandans and serve them equitably. We get criteria for serving them, and we let everybody go through that kind of criteria. I can talk a lot on cooperatives because it's not working. We only see these bigger ones like the parliamentary circle, that one for the army, for the police. Yes, there was a Lendo. But we need for those people, they are at the grassroots, and especially the farmers. Thank you very much. On the interest of time, our minister, take note and take those challenges. You are struggling to let cooperatives work, but they are not working. Thank you. Yeah, so with great honor, with a very great honor, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister to come and address the gathering. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to thank my sister, honorable members of parliament, the board of the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, the registrar, all our development partners, ladies and gentlemen, cooperators. It is once in a while that we last met, but I'm happy to see you at a time when you are receiving a report of a research that was done around the whole country. I feel happy when members of parliament, our comrades, former ministers, the elders, and vibrant young politicians, cooperators coming together to discuss a way forward for the cooperative movement in this country. I would like to thank my sister for the observations made, and I would like to make it very clear that the struggle is on. It is very difficult, I must mention it clearly here, to handle cooperators when they get involved in politics. My sister in office, 3/4 of the day goes to conflict resolutions. Even in the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, I've already got a conflict. And when people are conflicting, they waste a lot of time. Instead of thinking of developing and moving forward, they think of fighting amongst themselves. Pull him or pull her down. This is the first challenge that we have in the cooperative movement. I appeal to cooperators. I have always said that a cooperative society is by the members, it is for the members, it is to the members. You come together with an ambition and you start formulating your regulations and you start formulating a way forward. But the moment you start conflicting within yourselves, it creates a very big problem. The country now and the government has helped us a lot by not directly intervening in supporting the cooperative movement, but assisting us, bringing people together. At least when you look at the parish development model approach, that is an approach, if we handle ourselves very well, that addresses the concerns of cooperators in every parish. They are sending money to every parish. We expect leadership at that parish to resolve and be able to run business at the parish with little intervention from the center. Secondly, we also have Emyooga. This is also an intervention by government to assist people to come together to do meaningful development. I also want to inform you that the cooperative movement is moving steadily because we have had many cooperatives formed. When the cooperatives are formed, our next challenge is how do we sustain them and how do we move forward. The leadership of the cooperators, it is not only based on the conditions of the day. As it was, so it will be world without end. You must be adventurous because things have changed. You used to operate in a situation where you were monopolizing the marketing of commodities. We brought in liberalization. You are competing with other elements, businessmen and other enterprises that are competing for the same investments with you. If a circle is established and the circle is supposed to assist its members to access credit at a cheaper level, the cost of money should be very cheap. And you start deal-darling, you tell members who contribute to the circle, come tomorrow, come the other day, before they access funds which they qualify for. There are other areas where people are ready to give services without meandering. So now, how do we effectively compete with other enterprises? By being mindful that we should be inward looking. A cooperative is to consider the membership first than profits. We are not interested so much in profits, but we are interested in savings and also to do welfare business for the community within which we serve. If you are a non-cooperator, you have no business in a cooperative movement. You must join the cooperative if you want to participate effectively. This is what I have been struggling, my colleagues, to explain to people. A cooperative is a private entity that must do business and compete effectively. It should also look at value addition. The government has gone ahead to give us programs that were established under CAIP. The CAIP programs have now been handed over through the Agricultural Committee to cooperators. How do you use those CAIP programs that are now redundant? the stores to improve on value addition and also storage. How do you link what you produce with storage with the warehouse receipt system? How can a farmer come and bring his crop because of the supply and demand forces? The people have harvested maize. It is a lot of production. The prices are low because of the forces of demand and supply. How do you help that farmer to be able to store his commodity and to be able to wait for that time? And you, the leaders, are you being online? Are you venturing what is happening in Sudan? What is happening elsewhere? What is the cost of maize? This is the source of progress in a cooperative. I expect you, as you are assembled here, to really look at the findings and see what we can do. I want to thank you because you've been committed. But also don't shut down, don't lock out the younger generation. This is a very important aspect. Don't lock out the younger generation to enter cooperatives. Let the younger generation come and also steer the movement of the cooperative. I want to give you an example. When I was in secondary school, honorable colleagues, I used to play plenty of football. I would play plenty of football, make a 50 press-ups. But now I can't make a 30 because I've also advanced in what? In age. Why don't you allow these younger men to bring in fresh blood to assist us to steer the cooperative movement? This is my concern. And bring in women also to participate. The days are gone when women were being locked in kitchen to cook and serve food. They must effectively compete with us. I am extremely happy that in the Uganda Cooperative Alliance and many cooperatives, the leaders are women. You are really steering the organization very well. The men, we should not relax because women are taking over. Let us also effectively compete and be able to drive the cooperative movement to a designated level. I want to thank you, the Cooperative Alliance. We are looking forward to looking at you delivering the bank, because it will be your only bank. Professor Suluma here will tell you, it is not going to be a bank for the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. It is a bank for the people who are cooperators. How do you now move? I'm tired of talking. Now you leave this place and you say, each cooperative. How many registrar cooperative societies do we have in this country? We have about 14 million people. Really, if we stopped talking and said 14 million people, each person, each cooperator should contribute 10,000 to this bank, how far would we be? Look at circles like Wazalendo. Look at circles within the whole country. They can come together and bring those resources, and we are able to fight the evil of expensive money that it does development. That is the way forward. Be effective, be committed, stop quarrels, and move ahead. What else can I say? I have said a lot, and I will say a lot until I see ourselves moving. I am now happy I have collaborators, the members of parliament. Thank you for joining us. We need your support. UCA, we need you to help us deliver the bank, and then we move forward. There are government interventions. I want to pose one challenge. Even if I belong to the executive, this is a challenge I'm going to pose. What is happening to the agricultural credit facility that within banks? Cooperators, are you accessing this money? Yeah, we need to look at such things. The government is pushing money to banks to assist people get credit for agricultural facilities at a low interest rate. Isn't that true? But have we accessed the money? I am happy the head of state is also taking it head on. How do you access the agricultural credit facility to assist the farmers with the low cost money? Then the second question is, I am banker A. I'm lending at 30% per annum. Agricultural credit facility is lending at 8%. But you have brought a facility of 8% to compete with me of 30%. What will I do? I will not sell your 80%, but I will sell my 30% because I can't compete against myself. So the need for our cooperative bank. God bless you. I'm afraid I will have to.
Give the Honorable Minister another round of applause. You can see the individual who is committed to service.
Thank you so much, MC. Cooperators, let us join hands to appreciate in a very special way our Honorable Minister of State for Cooperatives. Asante sana. Yongeza tena. Honorable Minister, on behalf of the cooperative movement, I want to appreciate you in a very special way for the love, the passion you have for the cooperators, and for the commitment and support you have really given to the cooperative movement. UCA is able to do all this that we are doing, not because of our capacity, but because you came in and supported UCA. We thank you so much. Had it not been our minister, cooperators wouldn't have gotten this support. But Minister, we thank you and convey our regards to Honorable Francis Mwebesa and to our Excellency the President for the love and passion for the cooperative movement. Thank you so much. If we had the time, I would have talked for a whole day praising you, but in interest of time, allow me, Honorable Minister, to take you to the next session, which is the award ceremony. We have some people who have really done wonders here, and we feel we need to recognize them as a cooperative culture. Number one, Honorable Minister, maybe you'll kindly come here. We also need someone, Honorable, be closer to the Minister. Our elder, Mr. Charles Kabuga, kindly, you need to be here to witness this. Mr. Damiano, for you, I won't bother you because of age. But Honorable Minister, we have the longest serving cooperator. You remember we met him together at the Uganda Cooperative Transport Union. Muzei Damiano Musisi, he's now 97 years. He's the treasurer of West Mengo Cooperative Union and is the one who started Uganda Cooperative Alliance in 1961 in the conference center. He has been in the cooperatives since 1958. He's here with us. So, first one. Bushika Integrated Area Cooperative Enterprise. Where is Bushika? The chairman for Bushika. Bushika maybe has moved out. Let's go to another one. Moyo Sako. Chairman Moyo Sako. Where is Moyo Sako? He's here, he's coming, he's an elder. You also come. Mr. Charles Kabuga, kindly be closer. Mr. Charles Kabuga is our elder, the former General Secretary of UCA, and is the author.
I wanted to say something about these old people. The source of wisdom. They are logical because they know the past They very well understand the present and they can go to the future. The youth, that is why us in NRM, we have the youth wing, which must give, we prepare them to do what? To take over. But we cannot get rid of the old ones. You know what I mean. Thank you very much.
Moyo Sako. Honorable Minister, Moyo Sako is the largest Sako in West Nile, well performing, and the chairman is here with us. Thank you. Next is our senior elder, Mr. Damiano Musisi, here with us. Thank you. Uganda Housing Cooperative Union. Honorable Minister, this is a housing cooperative union that is championing the housing cooperatives in Uganda in a bid to address the housing deficit in the country. Thank you.
Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union.
We have, Honorable Minister, we have Ukusku, Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union. Mr. Sylvester Doctor is here. The chairperson, Honorable Bintu, is here. The vice chairperson, Mr. Stephen, is here. Kindly you come and receive the award. Mr. Bongonza Stephen, don't miss this photo. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Let us appreciate Ukusku. It's a national union of circles. We have Walimu Cooperative Union. This is a union for teachers' circles in the whole country. Walimu, Madam Karo, I saw them. Have they moved out? Walimu, Odeke was around. Okay, it's okay. They will get it after. We have Nyamahasa Area Cooperative Enterprise. It is closer to Karuma. Closer to Karuma Falls. And Honorable Minister, this is a very big area cooperative enterprise. They are aggregating and adding value on maize, beans. So the manager is Mr. Adubango Michael. He's here with us. Thank you. Next, Honorable Minister, is We Effect, the former Swedish Cooperative Center that supported the cooperatives for a very long time. We really thank you so much. We thank you. They are here with us. We Effect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Followed by Operation Wealth Creation. General Saleh is represented here by Honorable Proscovia. She's here with us. Operation Wealth Creation, Honorable Prose, convey our regards to General and OWC for the good work in wealth creation. Next.
Coffee Development Authority.
Okay. Followed by Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA. Honorable Minister, why we recognize UCDA is because of the critical role they have played in supporting the coffee farmers, the coffee cooperatives, and the entire coffee value chain. And it's our prayer as cooperatives, Honorable Minister, that UCDA should be retained as an agency not merged with others because of the critical role they are playing in this country. Cooperators, do we all support it? Yes. Very good. Honorable Minister, we all pray that UCDA should remain, shouldn't be merged. Thank you so much. Thank you. Honorable Minister, Mr. Charles Kabuga, kindly have a seat. We have Chibinge Coffee Farmers Cooperative Society, the ones who hosted us during the International Day of Cooperatives. And it's a very strong cooperative society exporting coffee to Europe and supporting farmers. Thank you, Chibinge. Next is Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union. Ankole, SCPCU. Maybe they went out. Let's continue. Next. Next is Exodus Sacco for Uganda Police. Uganda Police. Can we have Uganda Police? Uganda Police. The chairman has. Okay. And next. Wazalendo Sacco. The largest Sacco in the whole country. Honorable Minister, we are proud to have the largest Sacco here. Done. He's called, the representative is Colonel Dan Tiziwayo. He's here with us. Honorable Minister, we are proud that the army has the largest Sacco. No wonder they have the highest discipline. Thank you. Next is the Swedish Embassy. Swedish Embassy, they are not yet here. They have supported the cooperatives for a long time, and it is where We Effect is hosted. We thank them. Honorable Minister, UBC team, where are we? Uganda Broadcasting Corporation has supported cooperatives, and they have allocated 1 day per week. They have allocated it to cooperatives to sensitize and educate Ugandans on the need for cooperatives in the country. We shall communicate. UBC, Good Morning Uganda, they were looking at either Tuesday or Wednesday. The PR is here. Thank you so much, UBC. Cooperators, let us appreciate UBC. You see me there every week talking about cooperatives. We thank you. Next. We have a former staff, Mrs. Jova Bagarukayo, but I think she hasn't reached. Mr. Kabuga knows her better, and the Honorable Walimbwa. She started working in UCA in 1972. And she retired honorably, and but she's coming. She's also among this category of the elders, but she's coming. Thank you. Next. We have one for our own Shrenkuru Muzei Honorable Francis Mwebesa. Let us clap for our minister. Thank you. Honorable Minister, we also have another one for our Muzei Shrenkuru, Honorable Matia Kasaija. He was supposed to be here, but he traveled because he was requested to travel by His Excellency, but he's with us and his team is here. Minister of Finance, team, Minister of Finance, you come here for a group photo. The whole ministry is here representing the minister. Let them come here for a photo. Kindly convey our regards to the minister and the entire ministry for supporting cooperatives. The money that is going down to PDM and Emyooga, we don't take it for granted. Thank you so much. Lastly, but not least, I have one whose name is not named. We don't know whom to give, but we are requesting Honorable Betty to read out the person who is mentioned on this so that we can give this award. Thank you.
Honorable Frederick Gume Ngombi. Ngobi. Yes.
So, as the minister is receiving an award, allow me members to receive the members of parliament, the UCA board, the commissioner, our partners. Let us join the minister for a group photo. For a group photo. Yeah. We also have Honorable Koruo with us. Honorable Koruo, you are most welcome and thank you so much for the support. Members are joining me to recognize Honorable Koruo. So, photographers, you can help us. We have the elders join. Elders kindly join. Mr. Musisi,